Good afternoon. We are Team 16. My name is Chris Hansen, and I'm a consultant for Google.
My name is Wen Liu. I'm a CEO of Chicago Investment Corporation.
My name is Ruqin and I'm a consultant for Hansen.
My name is Josh Sterrett, and I'm the CEO of Indiana Investment Corp.
All right, so what we're going to solve today is the problem of if your company, Westero, should move into China or the United States within the medical device market specifically. So what we're going to look at is the demand and the potential customers in either market, the different trends within the markets, and the success that Westeros might find in either market. We will do that by looking at various company success in the markets currently and the different competitors that your company might run into, and maybe potentially if you were able to work with another company in the future.
The top two competitors in the US are Medtronic and General Electric Company. Medtronic develops and manufactures therapeutic medical devices for chronic diseases. The company markets its products to healthcare institutions and physicians in more than 140 countries worldwide. During the past 5 years, the company's US revenue has grown at an average annual rate of 9.3% to 14.2 billion. General Electric Company is a multinational conglomerate with operations that span the healthcare, financial services, energy industry, manufacturing, and media industries. In the 5 years to 2015, GE Healthcare's US revenue is expected to decrease at an average rate of 0.2% to 8.4 billion. Then I'm going to talk about top two competitors in China. GE Healthcare in China produce large-scale medical equipment such as CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and nucleus medical diagnosis equipment. In 2014, the healthcare business contributed 18.3 billion to GE's revenue. Mandarin's headquarters are in Shenzhen. Mandarin focuses on R&D and manufacturing medical devices, including patient monitors, clinical laboratory instruments, and ultrasound imaging. In 2014, China contributed 45.9% to Mandarin's total revenue. As of December 31, 2014, Mandarin had over 1,600 distributors and more than 2,100 sales, marketing, and service networks in China. Now I'm passing to Josh to talk about market size overview.
All right, so first we're going to go ahead and look at the market, and we'll start by giving a market size overview. So in the table below, we can see that the total revenue for the United States is about $44.2 billion, whereas in China it's only about $14.4 billion, which is about one third of what the United States has. And next, we're going to look at the 5-year growth rate. So the 5-year growth rate for the United States is about 3.3% annualized, whereas in China it's about 3 times that at 9.4%. And one important note about both of these markets is that they are both in the growth stage of the life cycle, just the United States is growing at a much slower rate. And next, at the bottom of the screen, we can see the regional percentage of world medical device market. You can note that the United States controls about 45% or almost half of the world medical device market, whereas Asia only controls about 18% of the medical device market. And next, we're going to go ahead and do a quick market segments overview. So on the left here, we can see that the United States is a much more concentrated market segments where they concentrate in the top 3 segments, which were cardiovascular devices, other devices which included diabetes, respiratory, and dialysis equipment, and irradiation devices. And on the right here, we see that China has a much more even market segment spread, and so it might be more friendly to new entrants. We see the top 2 or 3 here are X-ray equipment at 18.5% and CT equipment, which is about 21%. And next, Ruqin is going to talk about the evidence of demand.
Thank you. And so we looked at several indicators that can show the demand for the medical devices. And the first one we looked at is the health expenditure. And wealth or GDP, and in China the number is increasing, and especially in public spending. And however, in the US, the percentage remained steady in the past 5 years. And the next one we looked at is the population structure in both countries. So the next one we looked at is the population structure for both countries. The reason why we looked at this number is that the incidences of disease or disorder rise with age. So the growing number of adults aged 65 or older will lead to a larger demand for the industry product or medical devices. So as we can see in the graph, the percentages of adults aged 65 and older are increasing in both countries. And however, there is a larger proportion of aged people in the US than in China. And the last one we looked at is the imported goods, the proportion of imported goods to its total demand. Since Westeros is a foreign company to both markets, so I think we think a look at this number will be meaningful. And as we can see in the graph so far, the China's market is more rely on imported goods, and the U.S. market demand less from the imports. However, there is a trend that the China's market will rely less on imported goods, and it will reach the same level as the U.S. market in 2020. And I'll pass to Chris for the next part.
So I'm going to speak about the trends in either marketplace in the United States and in China. So in both industries and in both markets, there's a stable demand for the medical devices. We already spoke about that, and the growth areas of the proportions of elderly people as well as chronic disease sufferers. And those disease sufferers are growing just because with more technology coming out, they're able to treat more diseases. And another trend within either market is a rise in special raw materials. So in the specialized devices that certain companies would go after, raw materials are rising in those aspects. And within China, there is a focus on the mid to low end products. And within the United States, as Josh spoke about, it's more specialized in within cardiovascular spine devices as well as areas like diabetes and dialysis. So next, I'll speak about the barriers to entry in either country. So with China, the market leaders control about 50% of the market. So that's not as high as the United States has with 63%. So China offers more of the market share if you were to enter into China. But China also has high government regulation, so it would be more difficult for your company to operate within China, the United States. Also, the United States is focused on research and development and getting new products out there, so there would be high capital to keep up with the demand. Next, I'll pass it off to Josh to tell you our recommendation.
So after capping off our analysis, we came up with a recommendation for Westeros to expand into China. We feel that they should start as a solo operation and possibly keep an open mind to a merger or an acquisition in the future. Some of the reasons for our decision are as follows, such as the Chinese market is still in the growth stage of the life cycle, and we see that they're growing at about triple the rate of the US over the next 5 years. We also feel that they have a sustainable demand in the future due to the large population, and also according to IBIS World, we see that they have growing revenues into at least the next 5 years. And last but not least, we see that we feel that they have an edge over the U.S. barriers to entry, mainly due to the slower rate of technology changes in the U.S. So we feel that the initial capital expenditures would get our company furthered, and also that the market leaders control about 13% less of the market than the leaders in the U.S. do. And with that, you can see our references on the last page. And here are our references, and on behalf of Team 16, we thank you for considering our recommendation.